Hi, you're watching India Post Live, India's first web TV news conversation online. I'm Shivraj, and today is World Social Media Day. That's right, we're discussing World Social Media Day. You too can join in on the conversation by logging on to indiapostlive.com. You can also tweet with us, hashtag IndiaPostLive. Right, today is a red letter day, World Social Media Day. How has social media transformed our lives and the lives of many who are now operating through social media to grow their careers and grow their visibility and connect with faraway friends? Well, joining us in studio to discuss that is Vishal Sagar, who's a creative head at Good, Bad and Weird, which is a social media agency that actually helped the IPL broadcast various messages. And we're also joined by a budding actor who uses YouTube to really push out his talent. That's Varun Truthi. And I believe you also made a path-making film that went viral, right? So coming to you first, Vishal, how has the social media really transformed lives? Because Social Media Day was really about one organization deciding that June 30th is a red letter day, and we need to look at how social media has transformed both the communication and technology landscape.
Just to put things in perspective, newspaper doesn't have a World Newspaper Day. We don't have a World Newspaper Day. It is technically the oldest medium, right? Television debuted in 1920. The World Television Day started in 96, 76 years later. And radio has just got its World Radio Day in 2011. Social media is just 10 years old, and this is the 5th Social Media Day. So that's the impact that we are talking about.
Absolutely.
Right?
In such a small span of time, broadcasts far.
Exactly. It has connected more people than all the traditional medias could have connected. It has created communities. It's a medium truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's a democratic medium where everything is unfiltered, right? There are no filters. Everything is live. I mean, if a media can block something out, but on social media, nothing is blocked out. So you can consume what you want, you can consume how you want, and you can consume when you want, and you can also create it.
And it's interesting to see how over the last year or two, a lot of the legacy social media networks have been forced to reinvent themselves as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look at Facebook or look at LinkedIn, even look at Twitter, they are all undergoing through a constant phase because few years ago, Orkut was very hot. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
MySpace was very hot. Suddenly Facebook happened and they all were wiped out. So that's the pace of the technology. The attention span, we keep talking about the attention span, that people have lesser and lesser and lesser attention span, and that is very true for the social media platforms also. They are hooked onto a platform for some time. If the platform is not serving them right, or if there is a better platform, they'll leave it. So this social media platform migration rate is much higher than any other migration rate in the world.
Absolutely. And now it's becoming more visual, and that's why I'm coming to you, Varun, because the visual aspect, the attention spans when it comes to written word is become very short, very cursory and fleeting, but video, the visual. Tell us about how YouTube really gave you a platform to go viral.
Well, I'll tell you something first. I think the most beautiful thing about internet is it's free. All you got to do is get internet and it's free. So I think that's the most important thing which makes YouTube so beautiful, because every video on YouTube is free. You don't have to get any subscription like TV and stuff. So coming back to the question of how it went viral, I think I like to make videos with honesty and heart and emotion. All the videos on my channel have honesty and emotion. So, and the most beautiful thing about YouTube is it gives the owner of the channel flexibility to do whatever you want to do. I'm not under direction of anybody. I could produce my own stuff. All I need is vision, And if I have that message of humanity inside of me and I want my message to go out to my audience, all I got to do is come up with a project which would convey that message. So that's the beautiful thing about YouTube. I always had that independent structure to make anything I want, on any lines. So when I was I always have this heart inside of me, helping people in need. So I was always looking for people who I can help. So I came across some gentleman picture, and he had the picture went viral with more than 140,000 likes, 145,000 likes. And I was like, wow, but is only liking is gonna help him? We like pictures, we talk about it, we forget about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do something which could actually touch people's heart and show his struggle. So I came up with this video, which I tried my best to show his struggle. This
is Mr. Sahai.
Exactly, yeah. So I came up with that idea, like, just a picture is not going to do any justice to him, so I came up with this video, went to him, took his quick interview. And I'm going to tell you one thing really honestly. I showed his strength, not weakness. So people who are thinking he's weak, I know nobody's thinking he's weak, but I'm saying never look at this video if you're seeing he's an old man, trying to make a living. That's not what I'm trying to show. What I'm trying to show, an old man not giving up, being 77, and we youngsters, we get so discouraged with just little things and try to give up. So what I did was to show a person who's 77, can't walk, still travels like more than 150 kilometers every single day to make a living. So that idea came to me. I made the video, and everybody just connected it so much. They were like, "Wow, this is awesome! Like, this is inspirational." And especially young people, from 18 to 35, they went crazy. They were like, "I mean, this is the most inspirational thing I have seen in my life."
Okay,
And
so hold that thought, because
Exactly.
coming back to Vishal, I think it's interesting because here's someone who is an independent filmmaker who's used YouTube to broadcast a social message, wanting to talk about the stories that mainstream media doesn't talk about. But also now, social media is also offering you the option of also not just empowering other people, but also earning out of what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about how social media can also sometimes be an employment tool for a lot of individuals.
Well, social media offers a lot of opportunities when it comes to employment. There are so many people. I mean, see, the point is, on a social media, you as a person, as an individual, he becomes the media, right? So if I have on Twitter, say, 1 million followers, right, I have the power to influence 1 million people. So if a brand wants to come to me and wants me to say something, right, my message is going to reach those 1 million followers, right? So I am a media channel who has an audience, right? So that's what social media has done, and which is why people are earning or making money out of this, right? You have so many YouTube celebrities, you have so many Twitter celebrities, you have,
Yeah, mainstream shows now that actually
Exactly.
picking up celebrities from YouTube and
Exactly.
making them become larger than life figures as well.
Yeah. So that's how it is happening. And then there are so many musicians, there are so many film directors, there are so many, actors who have actually done small time videos on YouTube, and then they have become so big, right? They were just picked. Justin Bieber is one example in front of us. He has just gone huge,
Okay.
right? Psy, Psy. The reason why I'm calling him the Gangnam Style, because it's a K-pop, right? It's
Right.
Korean music. We don't
it's
understand
limited
it.
to Korea, and suddenly
Exactly.
it became a global
Yeah,
phenomenon.
it's the-
Everyone was dancing to it.
Exactly.
Everyone was watching the video and copying his style. Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. So we're also joined by Mayank Jain online from Youth Ki Awaaz. Mayank, tell us a little bit about how Youth Ki Awaaz uses social media to get those messages out.
Youth Care is basically an online platform for young people to express themselves on issues that matter. So most of the conversations right now are happening on social media between youngsters, because they might not meet each other, but they are always online on Twitter. They are posting updates on Facebook. So we realize that it is a big medium to target young people and get their opinions out on the issues which are very pertinent to the society at large. So how do we do this is through basically through targeting them on Facebook and Twitter. So we utilize these mediums to generate conversations. We utilize our platform to to give them issues that they can talk about, and then they can come on our platform and engage in debates, discussions, polls, and so on. So the platform is actually a very open medium for youth. Anybody who can just go in and express themselves through voice, through articles, through videos. We have all sorts of things going on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. But, Vishal, coming back to the platform he's talking about, the interactivity, the debate. But there is also a double-edged sword. A lot of what's said out there is not verifiable. There are no limits. How is that changing the way people, especially of an older generation, are reacting to social media?
The point is, there are so many rumors, there's so many hoaxes that go live on, social media, and they just go viral. And then, you're made to believe something that does not exist. So the basic problem with, I think, is usage of social media is we are too quick to press the share button, or we are too quick to press the like or comment button without even verifying the news story. There's one story that I would like to bring to this context, is that there was in North Africa, there was this oil tanker that had exploded, right? And it killed 37 people. It killed 37 people, and people posted it as an act of terrorism, which it was not, right? And it went viral. and the amount of hatred it generated in those 2 days was humongous. So yeah, in a way, it is double-edged sword if not used, wisely.
Right. We're also joined by a young filmmaker and Dipankar Gupta online, who made a very sort of epic viral film called A Right to Remember, and somewhat had a message that social media can also be an equalizer, so it's not always a one-sided story. Tell us a little bit about A Right to Remember.
Uh, Basically, it began as a college project. It was my second year diploma film course. So we had basically one day to shoot it, and we worked without a budget. And yeah, so we just made the concept up in one day. We hired a bus. The film was shot in a bus, and we shot it for a duration of like 1.5 hours, and it was done in a day. And it was supposed to be submitted to my professor within like 2 or 3 days, but I sort of felt that I should upload it also. So I created my YouTube channel and uploaded it and went viral.
And and once you made the video and it went viral, how has this really encouraged you, helped you to take up filmmaking as a far more serious profession?
When I started making my first film, I realized that this is something which I want to do, something that appeals to me. So then I started making films regularly, like every 1 week, every month, I would start making films, start making films. Even though the film might not have any, creatively, it might not be great, but it's just something that I'm keeping on doing so that I can have my, um, thing going on. And then eventually, as I started, I took up masters in film production from a college in Mumbai. And I kept on doing that. And right now, I'm in Bombay and assisting in teaching.
Okay, and when you were studying, far more specialized and focused course in filmmaking, what have the sort of responses been in the halls of academia to the power of social media to help filmmakers like yourselves grow? Because there is a huge debate now, amongst the film community of what constitutes film and what constitutes just personal stories that people like to share, which are a bit voyeuristic only.
Usually what happens is in my circles, in our circles, people who study filmmaking, they usually aim at festivals, they usually aim at theatrical screenings, or they aim at screenings. Now what the basic issue is, there are many screenings, many festivals, they do not accept films that have been uploaded on any online site or something like that. So usually filmmakers like me, currently we right now refrain from uploading our films on YouTube channels or video or something. We can upload private links to send to competitions and stuff, but we don't really share our films much on YouTube these days.
Right.
Because
In fact, that was my
it is
next
harmful.
question. A lot of film festival organizers actually have this conditionality that if your film's online, it doesn't qualify. Do you think that's fair or unfair?
See, I think it's actually, in a way, it's fair. I think after a film does its festival rounds, it can be uploaded online and shown to a wider set of audiences. But when for festivals, I think the only reason might be that you've already exposed it to a whole lot of audiences. Now again, you want to get it screened now festivals for festivals, and they have that sort of publicity. So I think from their point of view, it's pretty much logical.
Okay, and you know what we're going to do, Dipankar, is we're going to actually play out a Right to Remember because we've got your permission to, and to give our audiences a sense of the quirky equalizer that the video was talking about. So let's take a look at a Right to Remember. This is social media. I'm sure. You can.
तमीज नहीं है आप में? अक्षरधाम स्टैंड आ गया है, जिसे उतरना उतर लो, बाद में ही रोकी जाएगी गाड़ी। बाद में ही रोकी जाएगी गाड़ी।
So, Dipankar, what were the reactions to that film? Because it has very sort of thought-provoking content.
Basically a work of fiction. So it was one of my friend actually shared the concept with me, and something similar, quite similar, happened with his friend on a bus. It wasn't really intended to say something else. It wasn't. It was just a simple thought. It wasn't like men can hit women or just anything, any other abstract tangent that it was not really intended. But it was just a simple work of fiction, just a thought. But the reactions that I got were like amazing, and I got mails by women saying, "How could I do something like this? How could I demean women in a way? How could I talk about violence and such and stuff?" A lot of reactions were very nice, and then, I don't know, on YouTube the comments that I got were, some of them were really appreciative, but then some of them were quite random actually.
Okay.
Some people started abusing people from neighboring countries and random stuff just kept on happening there. But yeah, all in all, yeah, I got a nice response.
Okay. Vishal, it's interesting because somewhere along the line, social media has become somewhat of an equalizer on the one hand, but there's also a flip side. It's become very much about me, myself, and the individual only.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the way it has become an equalizer is because it's very, like he said, you know, all you have to do is get a internet and you are plugged in. And the way it is, like, you know, in your real life, you may be facing a lot of problems and struggles and everything, but what you post on Facebook is something that you want to project yourself as, I'm so cool, right? Your virtual life is very different from your real life. I mean, if you see your Facebook timeline, nobody is posting that, you know, I had a, you know, like, I've been waiting in the bus line for 3 hours, but once they are in an exotic place or in an exotic restaurant, they are all, you know, posting pictures and all
of their
these things.
food,
Yeah,
and of their own selves and their own
Exactly.
experiences.
yeah. So it's become actually a personal PR kind of a thing. That,
But
you know,
there's
I'm
also
so
been a
cool.
lot of blowback. A lot of people saying we don't need to see you. Tell us what you did when you opened your eyes in the morning. We don't need to have a
Yeah,
hour
yeah.
by hour count. And I think there has been a rethinking also in social media amongst users that perhaps they need to use it more effectively and be less about themselves.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, I think the euphoria of social media is now dying. I mean, like, people are also realizing that, you know, we are creating too much of content at a very, very rapid pace, and we cannot consume that much of content, and there is so much of useless information that is going out on social media, which I don't want to see, right? So even Facebook has started a concept like followers, so you can unfollow somebody and stuff like that.
Right. We're also joined by Kanish Sinha from Mumbai, who's with Stillwater Consulting. Kanish, you know, we're discussing both, of course, the benefits of social media, but also the flip side, because there's been this whole debate in the last couple of years that social media companies are having to give way to governments demanding information. And I don't know if you read, there was this very interesting report about, you know, couples in Bangalore using digital tracks on social media to catch their spouses cheating on them and using that in court to divorce people. So social media has both a benefit and a drawback as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure. I think the thing about social media is it's accelerating stuff and it's magnifying stuff. So, there's this recent experiment that Facebook has done about how contagion spreads, emotions spread through what you see on your feed. If you see happy stuff on your thing, you also feel happy. If you see sad stuff, you feel sadder. And I think what's happening is very quickly emotions can spread like wildfire, and that has its own repercussions. I think we haven't really learned how to handle that. So you can have a riot flare up very quickly. You can have
Absolutely.
revolution flare up. So both the positives and negatives can happen much faster. It's exaggerated. It's quick. So I think in the long term it'll be a great thing because it's faster information and it reaches more people. But at the moment, I think there's some negative consequences, misinformation, and the negative emotions like anger, they spread faster than some of the softer emotions. So it's something we need to figure out. And I think when governments try and control that, they will obviously use it not necessarily just to control violence, but also to kind of make sure that there's nothing against them. So it's difficult to figure out how to really use the medium to its maximum without causing the side effects
Right.
that it is.
And
currently.
interestingly, I'm just going through my Twitter feed and sort of hashtag World Social Media Day. A lot of people saying that the one thing that that social media has also done, it's made the world watch you closely. So now there's a kind of a consciousness that people are watching you closely, and now you need to get a little bit more responsible because digital data is being tracked. Governments are watching, people are watching. There is now greater scrutiny as well, apart from the euphoria.
Yeah, and it's as somebody who has been concerned about some of the human rights violations in India and somebody who's posted it quite vociferously. I've been, for example, one of the things I did was I collated a number of the different videos that have been produced against Mr. Modi. For example, said, what is his link with riots, etc. You see people getting arrested for posts like that. I had about 1 million views on one of my posts, and then another one within a day there was a lakh views of an 18-minute video that I posted before it was taken off. And a lot of people call me and say, Kanish, does it make sense for you to kind of put yourself at risk, not just physical violence but verbal abuse by putting your views online? So, a number of the clients that I work with, I work in corporate consulting space. I know that some of my clients are very sympathetic to the current government. That's also a thing that, I add a lot of my clients and they see my views, which politically doesn't make sense for me to be quiet about that. So I think that is something we need to figure out.
Right. In fact, that's what I say when I meet clients myself. I say that the personal, professional, and the very private spaces have all collapsed now with social media. Because once you're on social media, you can't really control who sees what you're saying and what you're doing.
Well, you can, because you can, at least on FB, you can make custom lists to see who can see your stuff. So if you want, you can do it. But I think most people are just either they're very politically correct, or they're very political. They don't do the kind of fine tuning and management of what is possible if you want to kind of have different messages going to different people.
Right. Thank you so much, Kanishka, for that perspective. But we're also going to show Varun's film. We're showing excerpts from. We're still, the thing is that we did try and get in touch with the subject of the film.
Right.
Right? And apparently Mr. Sahai said that while he was open to giving an interview, he didn't know it was going to become such a public thing.
Right.
So it had different implications on him,
Right.
on his family life. What are your views on the fact that sometimes it could be a flip side? You might think you're doing a good thing, but the wider ramifications of when it goes online and goes public could be much different.
Well, here's the thing. When you make something, nobody knows it's going to go viral. Nobody knows how many views it's going to get. All you try to do is put your best efforts to get the message across. So what I did was to put the best message, best everything so the message could get across. Now when it went online, everybody started viewing that video. They could connect to the video. Like someone was saying like, I lost my father and this is the most inspirational video I've seen after I lost my father and it gives me the courage to stay strong. People would saying guys like him should get Padma Shri so more people could get inspired from them.
Okay.
These are real comments. They're still posted.
Absolutely.
So I'm
So
not just
we-
making
we
them
do
up. All I'm trying to
actually-
say,
yeah.
all I'm trying to say is, I understand, like maybe it went a little negative for him, but I think you always got to look at a picture, how much percentage is positive, because I don't think so there's anything in this world which is good. Doesn't come with a bad thing. You know, everything in this world which is good, you have a cancer, you get an operation for cancer, doesn't guarantee anything. Maybe it's like the most high-tech operation. Even if you take a small medicine, to get relief of headache, it still have side effects. So what I'm trying to say, when you make something, you got to see how much good it's going to do and forget the negative. Because if you're going to think about the negative, you would never be able to make something.
Okay, we do apparently have an interview with Mr. Sahai.
Right.
We try to get him into studio, but I think he had reservations because he's already been so much in the public eye.
Right.
So why don't we play out that interview and see what his reactions were to it going viral as well.
ऐसा है कि मैं ये काम अपने रिलेटिव नेबर्स सबसे छुप के करता हूँ क्योंकि प्रीवियसली आई वाज मैनेजर इन अमेरिकन कंपनी दे नो आई वाज द रिच मैन दैट टाइम किसी को मालूम नहीं दिया लेकिन किसी साहब ने बच्चे ने किया तो मेरे लिए बहुत बढ़िया वेबसाइट पर डालकर उसमें फोटो कर फेसबुक ठीक गर्ल्स मैरिड अब उनके ससुराल वाले परेशान कर रहे हैं मुझे कि पहले हमने राजा के घर की लड़की ली थी भिखारी की आप नॉट पे ठीक हो तो इसलिए थोड़ा चक्कर चल रहा है वो मैं नहीं चाहता कि कुछ और ज़्यादा चक्कर चले.
Okay, so Vishal, the reason why he didn't come on camera is, of course, and Varun has a point. He was trying to tell his story and get reactions and get some difference on the ground, but that's the flip side of social media as well. The ramifications are something that we don't have control of.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the way we have been talking about media, like the traditional media, there are ethical codes, right? There are governing bodies, there are censors, there are everything. They monitor that it can have. In social media, that body is completely missing, right? There is no such governing authority or a body that can monitor or can speculate that if this content goes online, what are the effects that it can have. So till the time that body is missing, I mean, till the time you don't have a personal ethical code, these things will keep happening.
Keep happening.
Yeah.
Varun, how do you measure success of a film that you've done or not? What is it that you use as a yardstick to measure success or failure?
I would say the comments.
Okay.
The comments I get, because you got to see people watching YouTube, posting comments on Facebook, they're the real people. We can't see them, it's virtual. But they're the same people who watch TV, who go in theaters, watch a film. So when they watch a film in theater, they talk with each other. Yaar bekar, it's like this film, trash film, very good, great film. The same thing they post in comments. So when you see comments, I honestly go by, there's another thing in YouTube, like and dislikes. So if you have more than 90% likes on your video, that means you have done something really awesome. Because 90% is like, I would say, 4.5 stars out of 5. So, so those kind of things, the comments, give you that kind of encouragement, like is the project you did is good or is it bad? Now, there's another video, if you have a second, I want to talk to you about. Another video I did was for another accident experiment where I was trying to get help and nobody helped me.
Okay, the other thing is, and before we close the program, I know that 5 years of World Social Media Day, what I've been reading is that they're all talking about community managers and celebrating them. Because now also the other aspect of social media is analytics. It tells you a lot now of success, failure, trends. It's helping companies, it's helping public, it's helping everyone around. How important are community managers and analytics for practitioners like yourself?
I mean, analytics and community managers are basically the backbone of social media when it comes to be used by the brands, governments, or everybody or anybody else, right? Because the best part about social media is that it is measured, right? And it is measured almost instantaneously, right? So I mean, you can get the exact demographic of your audience, what he is interested in, what the other places he would like to. So you can have a complete sketch of that guy, and then basis that, you can probably design a new product for him. You can probably tweak your content. You can, so all that can be done. So analytics provide you a great insight into what are the things that people are liking. As you just said, that if the content has 90% likes, then that means it has been rated positively by the audience. So probably he will venture into more such content, right? He's getting a direction right from the public that what is it that they want. Right? It's not you and me sitting in a studio or an air-conditioned conference room and debating and brainstorming and just thinking that, oh, probably I think this is going to work. right? Let's keep.
You're
let's-
getting real-time reaction
Exactly.
and
So
response.
yeah, real-time action and response, and it's I mean, if you read the analytics right, you know what your audience wants.
Absolutely.
So
Okay, so
that's how.
just one last round. Deepankar, now you're looking at filmmaking seriously. How important or how much of social media will you leverage in your endeavor?
Social media for me, I would primarily use for publicity because if I have a screening from there, if I want to invite people to that, I want to spread the word, I want to spread information about the film, as to what the film is about, who appear in the cast.
Okay,
That's-
the sort of side stories, the buzz around the film.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and Kanishk, just closing down the program with you because you're talking about some very essential features of social media and the responsible use of it. Where do you see social media now going, given the way it is developed, the way legacy brands themselves are reinventing their own platforms?
Sorry, could you just repeat the last part of the sentence? I didn't hear
Just
that.
a sense of where you think social media is now going to go from here on.
Where I would like it to be, the last time I spoke, I was thinking about potentially the negative aspects of social media, but I think the biggest aspect is to spread positive messages, especially education. So if you think about the villages, there's no reason why we can't have learn English on YouTube for all the villagers, that have access to it. There's no reason why you can't spread education. And so until now, we've been kind of cursing, the primary education in India hasn't reached the general population. Teachers are absent. What this allows us to do is anybody who wants to contribute to the nation can just upload a video that can go viral so people who want to learn something about maths, for example, can use that. So I would love it to be used more widely in education.
All right. Thank you so much, Kanishka. Thank you so much, Deepankar and Varun and Vishal, for joining us. Of course, the discussion on social media will continue, and we will continue having more discussions around how participatory it is, very much like India Post Live itself. Thank you so much for joining us, and continue watching.